Full card in Major League Baseball today, and a lot of good opportunities today. I like a couple of the pitchers to fade on the mound today, like a couple batting spots here, but also we were teasing before this break, talking a lot about the New York Yankees. Aaron Judge coming back to the lineup, them not playing well. We just asked a question that fade the public poll. How about this New York Yankees? Will they even make the playoffs at this point? Like, there is a lot of panic, but we had to sort of correct that and say the season ended today. The Yankees are still in the playoffs. There's plenty of time to turn it around, maybe even chase down the Toronto Blue Jays or the Boston Red Sox, who at the beginning of the season certainly didn't have as lofty expectations as the New York Yankees had. But let's focus on today. 2:35 start down in Texas, 9:13, 9:14 on the rotation. The New York Yankees, Texas Rangers, Carlos Rodon for the Yankees, the lefty, will be on the mound facing Jack Leiter. 8s across the board. You take a look at the total in this game. Okay, maybe they get 9 runs, but the Yankees certainly a 2-0 game. Didn't do anything against Eovaldi yesterday. But how about this price point, Joe? Minus 155s, minus 160s overnight, they are gone. Minus 138s, minus 135s, minus 127s here. Nobody buying the Yankees. And you know how I like to look at that saying, if nobody's buying the Yankees, is that the time that we finally buy the Yankees?
How is a team that has lost 19 of their last 24 away from on the road, by the way, not overall, that's just on the road. How in the world are they a favorite in any way, shape, or form, especially when Carlos Rodon has been the absolute definition? The minute July hit, he has been the definition of mediocre. I mean, he's just under a 5 ERA since the start of July. He's not shutting anybody down. And you've got a Rangers team who's looking for the sweep and has won 11 of their last 12 at Globe Life. And Jack Leiter, by the way, has really started to come into his own. He's the opposite of what Rodon has been lately. He seems to be getting better and better with each start. At plus money, I get the better team right now. I'll take the better team at plus money all the time.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to ride out streaks. And again, the Yankees lineup does present itself well against right-handed pitching, particularly. That's what Jack Leiter is. But my goodness, they couldn't do anything last night. The bats seemed a little bit sluggish. Even in that last game where you saw where they played in Miami, it wasn't even so much the bats. They got 5 runs in there and still got beat because their pitching, particularly their bullpen, hasn't been holding up. You should win games 2-0. Like if your starting pitcher puts you in a game where it's 0-0 in the 8th inning, come on, Yankees, you got to come away with that base knock to win it. And last night, it was the base knock there by the Rangers late in that game to seal the fate here once again for the New York Yankees. We'll see if it plays out differently today, but we all know this. It's fun when you're winning. The locker room is popping. Those win streaks are fun. When you're the New York Yankees in that media space and you're playing bad baseball, it compounds its issues every single day. We'll see if they can snap back out of it. I guess the only good thing is you don't have to wait long to play this game. It's a day game as opposed to a night game, but we'll find out, as we like to say, sooner than later on that game that's going to take place at 2:35 today. Next up on the docket, let's head out to Los Angeles, St. Louis, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Max Muncy came back last night. My goodness, did he come back. Today, another game, 4:10 start, which means on the West Coast, Joe, it's a 1 o'clock start. 9:05, 9:06. Liberators on the mound, the left-handed pitcher for the Cardinals, going up against Shohei Ohtani. Last time we saw Shohei Ohtani on the mound, leading with a little bit of cramping, tightness in his hip. We'll see if he got those kinks worked out. But the odds market is buying into Ohtani, Joe. Minus 200s overnight, that's higher now. Minus 215s, minus 220s across the sports betting landscape, and a total that opened up at 9, now creeping higher to 9.5. Expectations are possibly for runs out in Los Angeles.
Well, it's funny because the Dodgers have said they're planning to stretch him out finally, and we thought that might happen come August here, and he did cramp up a little bit, but last time out, but they said they plan on him going 4 innings in this matchup here as they try to get him ready for a postseason run. So this has got an over written all over it, because if he goes 4, great. If he doesn't, the bullpen's got to get in sooner rather than later. Mookie Betts finally ended a 0 for 22 run there with 3 hits last night. I do think they can turn it back around. I'm expecting runs in this afternoon game, and just keep an eye on Ohtani. Does he go 4? If he doesn't, that means runs are being scored. I do like the over here.
Yeah, anticipated lineup today doesn't look like it has Max Muncy going up against a left-handed pitcher, which, quite frankly, Los Angeles hasn't hit left-handed pitching all that well over the past month, but you do sometimes look at the environment they play in. Usually Chavez Ravine, Joe, at night, pitching plays, that marine layer on the West Coast, not in the daytime. 88 degrees at first pitch, wind blowing out. That changes a lot of things there. So maybe the runs are anticipated, and you just needed a breakout game for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and maybe Ohtani can get stretched out. But if he isn't, that's even better for the over. Hey, Ohtani's done after 2 innings. Great. Bullpen game for the next 7 innings. You certainly would sign up for that as well. Good times out there in Chavez Ravine. We'll see how it plays today. And also, if that has any saying on that NL vote for MVP, if Ohtani can go 4, 5, or 6 innings today, 1 run or less, maybe pop a home run, we'll find out certainly there. Cincinnati and Chicago, don't look now, but those Reds here doing a little bit of damage, trying to make the playoffs here, going up against Chicago Cubs, 9:03, 9:04, 2:20 start from Wrigley today. Abbott, the lefty, on the mound against Horton. And, of course, you see the opening number at 8 as the total, Joe. It's down to 7.5. You don't even have to check the conditions at Wrigley. Who cares what the weather is? It means the wind is blowing in. A favorite here for Chicago overnight in the mid-140s. That's now dipping. You'll see the graphic on the screen at a -142. It's actually lower right now. -135s, -138s, depending on what book you are shopping at right now. Chicago Cubs, you got to stay within reaching distance here of the Brewers. You need to win somehow. Do they get it against Abbott today?
Well, it's going to be not easy. I mean, Abbott has allowed, I believe, 2 earned runs or less in 16 of his 19 starts this year. I mean, he's not given up the long ball, so he has been pretty much lights out. I mean, sneaky under the radar Cy Young conversation here for what he has done this season. Cade Horton, not exactly a guy that brings a whole lot of confidence, but you mentioned it. 7.5 is an interesting number. I don't necessarily trust Cade Horton, so I think backing the Reds early in the first 5 is a pretty good look here. I don't trust that Reds bullpen, but I trust Abbott to limit the damage by the Cubs like he's done to everyone else. I'll back the Reds here in the first 5.
Yeah, it's got to start winning some baseball games if you want to try to track down the Milwaukee Brewers, who are absolutely red hot at this point, looking for another victory today against lowly Atlanta, who just a season that, yes, we just have to take a look and say the expectations were win that division, go deep in the playoffs with a possible World Series too. We're not even going to touch 500, and we're getting our doors blown off, it feels like, on a night-to-night basis. Milwaukee, again, is going to take on Atlanta today. Jose Quintana, the left-handed pitcher, will be on the mound going up against Spencer Strider, 9:07, 9:08 on the rotation. This is a night game tonight, Joe, 7:15. You look at the opening numbers, 135, 136. They're still sitting there at this point, so Spencer Strider can't even move the needle anymore as a starting pitcher here for the Atlanta Braves. A total which opened up at 8.5. Now we sit 8 across the board. It just feels like the MO tonight is what? 4-2 victory for the Milwaukee Brewers?
You mentioned it with Texas. Okay. If I get the better team at plus money, I don't care. I'm betting them. They are basically an auto bet right now. You're talking about a team that's 44-16 since May 24th, and they're 22-7 since the start of July. The Braves are a train wreck. I don't care that Spencer Strider is on the mound. That bullpen will have to get involved at some point. Give me the better team at plus money any day of the week here.
Yeah, we take a look at Spencer Strider's last 98 batters he's faced over the past month. You take a look at his ISO power numbers, 165 against. It's average. Weighted on base percentage, it's average. He's usually well above average as a pitcher. Right-handed batters certainly getting to him a little bit. Not a lot of Ks today in that lineup for the Milwaukee Brewers going up against right-handed pitching. We understand Strider is a power pitcher, but you put the ball in play, certainly good things can happen. Atlanta's lineup, though, doesn't look that bad. The middle of it, Ozuna, Murphy, Albies, and Eli White, really high ISO power numbers and weighted on base percentages. The one thing we always look at Jose Quintana, just a slippery pitcher. Either he has it or he doesn't at that point, right? Not a big K guy, tries to work around hard contact and barrel rates at this point here, but it's also just a dead Braves team. Sometimes it's just tough to bet those. And I told you yesterday, and I was speaking on it ad nauseum, batters still want to get base hits. But something just isn't right for the Atlanta Braves. They just don't get very many base hits anymore at this point. It's just the way it is. You know, need more base hits today? The New York Mets, the Phillies, extending their lead. Let's talk about their game against the Cleveland Guardians up next. Need a win, need a win, need a win. A lot of teams in Major League Baseball, Joe Raineri looking for that win. None more important maybe than the New York Mets, with the Phillies playing very good baseball, extending their lead now to 2.5 games over the New York Mets. They're going to take on the Cleveland Guardians once again today. Williams will be on the mound, the right-handed pitcher for the Cleveland Guardians, going up against Mr. Peterson, the lefty of the New York Mets. 9:23, 9:24 on the rotation. A 110 start and a heavy favorite for those New York Mets. -180s, -182s, depending where you're shopping right now. You see that graphic, -174. Total of 8 overnight, Joe, dropped to 7.5. Peterson's got really good numbers. Not a hot hitting lineup per se for the Guardians, but they're playing much better baseball than they have. And maybe looking at those Detroit Tigers, like we could chase them down. But more importantly, they're live in the wild card race. No longer one of those teams that we thought would just be a pushover, even though you have relievers and pitchers suspended here that you would need. How about that? Could they come away with another victory today in Flushing?
Well, we talked about them yesterday, and I really did like them in that spot against the Mets. The Mets don't hit lefties, and Logan Allen, outside of a couple of runs early, did a fantastic job, as did the bullpen. The Mets are struggling to score runs. The Guardians, quietly under the radar, Donnie, to your point, have all of a sudden played themselves into a wild card spot, and nobody's talking about them because it's either, well, where's Class A and where's this team is really starting to come into their own. The problem with them is, like the Mets, they don't hit lefties well either. I think they're 25th in OPS versus lefties this year. David Peterson, 5-0. He's got a 2 ERA at home. This feels, with a day off tomorrow, Donnie, for the Mets, this feels like we need to get one here. They need a win in a big way, and I think all hands will be on deck here to get this W, take the day off tomorrow, and then head into the weekend and try and get something going. So I like the Mets in this spot. I don't love the price, but I can only look their direction here.
Yeah, we look at these two pitchers here based on the past 45 days. They are similar. David Peterson, 40 1/3 innings pitched here, a 3.35 ERA and a 3.92 xFIP number. If we take a look at Gavin Williams, 41 innings pitched over the past 45 days, a 2.85 ERA and a 4.25 xFIP number. We'll see how that plays out, but certainly the Mets cannot afford another loss. Why? Because the next game that we're going to bring up right now, that's the Baltimore Orioles taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Two lefties on the mound today. Rogers going up against Suarez, 9:21, 9:22 on the rotation. An afternoon start at Citizens Bank Park at 12:35. A favorite overnight of around a -170 price. That's actually going higher. You see that price clip here on the TV side of things at a -158. -172s, -179s across the betting landscape, depending on which book you're shopping at right now. And a total, which opened up at 8.5, has dropped to 8. Rogers does have good stats. The Phillies always bring a great starting pitcher here. And last night, absolutely shut down the Baltimore Orioles in a 5-0 shutout. It just feels like the Phillies right now getting into rhythm here in the month of August.
Yeah, and with two lefties on the mound, Donnie, but both of these offenses aren't great against lefties. They're much better against righties. And Trevor Rogers, I mean, talk about turning the clock back. Unbelievable the job the Orioles have done with him. He is in the best form that we have seen him in maybe a rookie year there with the Marlins. So, and you know what Ranger Suarez is. We all know what Ranger Suarez is. He's having also a tremendous year. I agree with the move to the under. In a getaway situation, no way would I look to think we're going to get a ton of runs by these offenses. I think the under is the play. Even at 8, Donnie, I'm still looking at an under here.
No, I think you're right about that, too, because you look at Rogers, and you're right. On the card today, Joe, he's 6th overall, and that's out of 28 pitchers that are eligible here. A 1.13 ERA over his past 47 2/3 innings pitched. Like, even the analytics are still decent at 3.63, but if you're giving up basically 1 run per start, you're going to keep your guys in the game. But you know what else also hurts? Well, you give up your 1 run, and then you get shut out like you didn't score any runs last night. So we'll see what happens, say, with the Philadelphia Phillies and the Baltimore Orioles as we keep cranking through. How about Houston? Let's get down there and take a look at the Miami Marlins down there in South Beach taking on Houston. Spencer Arrighetti, haven't heard that name in a while, starting pitcher for the Astros. Maybe they're getting a little bit healthier. Jansen Junk on the mound today. 927, 920 on the rotation. A 440 start from South Beach. An 8 as a total, Joe. And roughly a pick 'em. Overnight, -108s, -110s, -115, still staying there. Are we trusting Arrighetti? Do we see more bats today? Do we get an over 8.5? What's your vibes today on the Marlins taking on the Astros?
Very hard to back a guy that, where has he been, Donnie? I've not seen Arrighetti, and welcome back is right here. But the bats have come alive for Houston. Make no mistake about it. What have they scored? 15 in the last couple of games here, looking for this sweep. And I think they could very well get it. Having Pena back in that lineup has been great. Carrera, Jesus Sanchez against his former team, Urias, all the additions that Houston made are finally starting after getting swept in Boston, are finally starting to put it together. And then, of course, you've got the Marlins who just, they won the World Series by sweeping the Yankees, apparently, and can't figure out how to put it back together. Not a offense right now I want to step in front of. Don't know what we're going to get from Arrighetti, but I'll tell you this. I know what we're going to get from the Houston bullpen, and it's pretty darn good. So at this price, yeah, give me the hot lineup right now, and that is the Houston Astros.
You're right about that. Like Jansen Junk actually had a couple good starts here, but his last three, Joe, 5 innings pitched, 6 earned, or 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 earned runs. The next start, 5 innings pitched, 8 hits, 3 earned runs. And his last start against the Yankees, 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, and 6 earned runs here. And you're right. You take a look at Carlos Correa. He's had at least a base hit in 10 of his last 11 games, some of those with multiple base hits. You look just going up against right-handed pitching over the past month, teams on fire. Pena, Sanchez, Altuve, Correa, Walker, Caratini, Diaz, and Trammell, all high ISOs and weighted on base percentages. And the best part about this is Jansen Junk's not a strikeout pitcher, Joe. Hasn't struck out a lot against right-handed pitching over the past month. And that's the Houston Astros lineup here. So we might have something. It's a pitcher's ballpark. We get that. Getaway day, we understand that as well. But if you are looking for a team to stay hot with the Houston Astros at the plate, this could be a day where we certainly focus in on. So nice Major League Baseball card. I do like, Joe, the split. Sometimes too many afternoon games, not enough night games, no afternoon games, not enough or too many night games. We got a nice split today. Good afternoon action, good night action.
Yep. We got a little something for everybody here today, and at good prices. Better teams at plus money. Interesting.
Good prices, people. Buys up next. We need a rebound today. It's Wednesday's 4 Hump Day, people. Let's get some dubs. How do we like to end the early line? On a day-to-day basis, we like to give out winners. Yesterday, we didn't give out winners, so today we would love to give out some winners. So it's Donnie Rightside, it's Joe Raineri. We'll have a couple more hot topics before we end this segment of our show. But in the meantime, Joe, we got to give the people what they want, right? Like sometimes when you lose a game, how you lose it doesn't really matter because a loss is still a loss. But when you say, you know what, Mason Miller's going to shut this bad boy down perfect, he's in the game. Same thing with like in Philadelphia. If Duran comes in, it's like, hey, I just need it under. The guy's got to get a couple outs. And he throws a pitch 103 plus miles an hour that landed in the seats, Joe. How'd that happen last night? Come on now. Stop.
Yeah. And to think that actually stayed up because it was the perfect spot. We love the under 9 in that game last night. And 103 mile an hour fastball gets parked for a 2-run home run. And there goes the under. Good news is Padres ended up coming back with 5 in the top of the 10th, I think, to end up winning it. But the damage had already been done at that point there, Donnie. But I think we're going to bounce back with a big night here tonight, you and I.
I love it. It's time for some bye. Get on it, Joe Raineri. I know there's a juggernaut offense that you're probably looking to fade today. Who's that?
Well, listen, let's be realistic here. If it ain't broke, let's not fix it. I mentioned yesterday before giving out that total in the Arizona Padre game that, listen, just figure out a way to back the Brewers as much as you can, especially against bad teams. And the Braves are a bad team here. But they do get Spencer Strider, who's had a little extra rest given the fact that, well, that game was rained out on Saturday at Motor Speedway there, so he got a little extra time. He'll be going up against the red-hot Milwaukee Brewers. But the problem is, offensively, we can't trust the Braves to do a whole heck of a lot. Quintana's a guy that he'll get some strikeouts here, but ultimately, I trust that this might be a lot more of a lower-scoring game, especially early. Donnie, I think Strider will limit the Brewers. I do think Atlanta is still going to struggle to get some runs. I think 4.5. I think there's some value on the under in the first 5 here because I don't see both offenses lighting the pitchers up here to the tune of 5 or more runs in the first 5 innings. So I think the value is on the under early in this one.
Love it there. Also love the picture. They gave you a nice little glamour shot right there, which I'm going to get to my glamour shot in just a moment here. But bye for me. West Coast sometimes is the best coast. I'm fading Jonathan Cannon tonight. Can't get too many guys out. Seattle should be able to pop tonight. I have 7 of the 9 batters at a plus tonight. Arozarena, Rowley, Rodriguez, Suarez, Polanco, Crawford, and Cole. Team total over 4.5 runs for the Seattle Mariners tonight. Now, as you see this graphic pop up on the screen, that picture was taken 4 years ago and 52 pounds heavier for your boy DRS right there. And also, mind you, a nice sport coat on right there, chilling, had the black shirt underneath, but I was also taking a picture. It felt like staring into the sun at the same time. Not my finest hour, but my heaviest weight, Joe Raineri. What do you think about that?
I was just going to say, I thought that was your older brother. I was like, was that what's going on? You like the younger brother here now, Donnie? Like, what's happening here? But look at that, right? That? Doesn't it look like he's like, is that Donnie's uncle? Like, what's going on here with this photo?
Can you guess where I was in that picture? Can you guess where that picture was taken at? Can you guess?
Oh, boy.
It was in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
An old haunt for us at the SportsGrid Network. It was an old haunt there. I was asked to show up at this place to take that picture and take a couple other glamour shots here. It was crossing the river over from New York. There's a stadium in that area. There's a practice facility in that area. There's a horse race track.
Somebody go to Belmont? Like, where'd you go? Or did you go? Where were you there?
Yeah. Meadowlands.
Oh, the Meadowlands.
I was on the top deck overlooking the horse race track, which in the background you can see MetLife right there, into a blazing sun, I believe, in the early month of June. So that's what it was. I finished up on the early line, got in the car, drove like an hour and 40 minutes to take a couple glamour shots, then drove back home. That's the history of that picture. 50, by the way, the wife hates that picture. You don't even look like that anymore. That's nostalgic, Joe, right? Come on now. You got to have some nostalgia.
No, that's what I'm saying, Donnie. I'm telling you, it looks like your older brother. It's fantastic, man. It looks, you look night and day now compared to that picture.
There you go. Living La Vida Loca, baby. And by the way, we're going to get some winners tonight. That bye segment, maybe the best we've done, maybe the most inspirational bye in the history of the show. We'll see what happens here. But for Joe Raineri and Donnie Rightside and the whole crew on the early line, we will see you bright and early on a Thursday morning. Take care.